Привіт знову. Ми продовжуємо на захід. І наступний доповідач у нас Макс Тесла. І ми перемикаємося на англійську мову. Hey, Max. Nice to see you here. Like, thank you for preparing presentation, for our audience. When I usually do the program, I always think about some extra valuable thing for our people who listen to the presentation so they can implement it. And with the previous speaker, we talked about research, how to find niches, right? How to analyze better a little bit, what's their flow. And in SEO world, a lot of people, most of the people use Ahrefs, some of them use SEMrush, some of them use other tools. But, when it goes to iGaming, I don't see many products on the market overall. It's 3, 4, and they are all different, right? Some made for affiliates to find opportunities faster, some made for research, and most people who actually do researches, they sell the reports they do on monthly or quarterly basis, analyzing all the market. So I thought it would be really cool to show what you guys built and just to show it from a different angle. So thank you so much for coming. Let's start.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Victor, for the introduction, and thanks a lot for having me here at Nazahit. Really glad to be the speaker. Good morning, everyone. My name is Max. I am CEO and co-founder at Blask. And over the past few years, we have seen AI move from buzzword to backbone, but in iGaming, what I know that most teams still use it as a decoration and not the actual guideline or direction. I know that AI is used a lot in copywriting and especially in SEO, but at Blask, we have tried to flip that. When we came up with the idea of Blask with Dmitry, my co-founder, we asked a simple question, what if AI could actually see the market the way humans do, to see the brands, not just the domain names, to see user intent and not just traffic spikes, and to see competitor moves before they publish their quarterly reports. That question led us to build the first AI-powered competitive market intelligence platform that is purpose-built for iGaming. We tried to connect computer vision, large language models, time series, and data science with time series modeling into, let's say it one coherent market view. And today I will show you how Blask sees the unseen. Over the past 2 years, we have got 4 awards. The last one was at the SBC, and we've started with the Sigma Startup Pitch in the Philippines in 2024 with the public launch last year. And before this, we were running in the silent mode with our early adopters from the industry who helped a lot. We've tried to build a tool that is suitable for operators, for suppliers. We have so many customers from the affiliate side. And here are some of the companies we currently work with here, and some of the voices of success you can also see. But let's move to the concept what we have built so far. At the core of Blask platform lays the Blask Index, and the Blask Index is the metric that we have created in-house. Think of it as the Nasdaq or Dow Jones for the iGaming. The idea of Blask Index was heavily inspired by the share of search theory that was developed by marketing professor Les Binet and James Hankins. And their cross-industry work showed that a brand's share of search within the category acts as a really strong proxy, as a really strong predictive indicator for its share of market. And often it is a leading indicator of movement. And there are lots of IPA UK studies that shows the report from the average 83, 84% of relationship across categories and countries. Well, but why this matters? The share of search, we have quite a good article within the blog on this. It matters because it reflects the demand side momentum. It's when the consumer attention shifts, then search attention also shifts. And usually this happens before financials. And external coverage echoes this. I've read lots of independent write-ups of the IPA think tank that also note that share of search is 80-ish something percent of share of market and the real market share of the brand on average, and the way that it is a predictive indicator. But we've made our own adaptation of this because the share of search was not a prominent indicator to be used within the iGaming industry. Here we can see the Blask Index for Netherlands all time. We have data since 2016. Over here, we took that science and we tried to prove if it is valid, if it is reasonable within iGaming. And what we did, we do not stop at a domain because you know that on offshore markets, there might be like hundreds, thousands of mirrors, aliases, localizations, and other brand entities, but not just the domain. So, like, if you'll be using SEMrush or Ahrefs for this, you'll completely fail over the offshore market because you'll have to know all of the mirrors that can be shut down, just hundreds during 1 hour. Look at India, for example. Well, but what we've tried to do is we tried to track all of those brand entities across mirrors and localizations, and then compute the unified visibility curve for the industry. And that curve is the Blask Index, our iGaming specific share of search implementation. But although the index is rooted in share of search, it is really important to notice that it is not a traffic metric, and it is not players that are coming from SEO optimization. Think of the Blask Index as that it is the model of the user interest dynamics that represents the relative and normalized search intent about the relativity. Blask Index does not exist on the country level in vacuum. Blask Index represents, we can see that Blask Index represents the market pulse and the market interest of every single brand. And it is consisting for Netherlands of all of 193 brands we track on the market that are contributing to this index. So we think of it as the Dow Jones, as I've said previously, and it's really an interesting discovery because we did not plan to use Blask Index in public. It was just a technical metric we used in Grafana to track if we are quite right in our calculations. But then we came to the point that, well, it's quite a great discovery that we want to show this to the world. And this gives us an opportunity not just to compare to the original theory of the share of search, to just track the interest to Unibet versus the interest to category. You can see it here. And here's when regulation by KSA hit in the Netherlands. You can zoom in here. Yeah, it's quite sleek interface. You can actually hit up command and compare all of this. And if you are a night owl and work overnight, we have a dark mode for you. Yeah, this is looking sexy. I love it. But yeah, well, the user dynamics we have right now for this brand then can be used to build a compound of every single brand. So the Blask Index of Netherlands is the representation how all of the brands within Netherlands perform within this market. And this opens us the opportunity to compare markets and have a baseline, have a foundation to even be capable of doing such comparisons. So if we'll take a look at the Netherlands, we can see the neighbor markets that perform quite similar are the Philippines and France. And we can see that Philippines is booming really hard this year. I can just disable it. And look, when Netherlands outperformed France in May with a Blask Index, and if we'll just switch to France, we can see all of those brands that we track here that contribute to the index. Those licenses are those onshore, offshore, and we can also see the distribution of the market comparing local brands versus international brands. Think of local as brands that are operating under the local license. We can even see that the gambling is unregulated, betting is regulated here. And we can see that Autorité Nationale de Jeux actually issued the license for Paris en Sport. And those brands are working under what we call the international license. So it might be like Anjouan or Curacao, etc. You can see all of this over here. And then what we've tried to do is not just showing this intent, but regress those market dynamics directly into business outcomes. And here were two metrics we've made after the Blask Index shine. The APS is the acquisition power score.
Як твій сайт почувається в ChatGPT? Є згадки? Досі відстежуєш лише органічний трафік у Google, ігноруючи нову реальність за AI-пошуковиками? У SEO-профі ми створили аудит нового покоління. 53 ключові пункти, серед яких глибокий аналіз конкурентів, технічні фактори, що впливають на AI-ранжування, контент та off-page сигнали. Результат – не загальні поради, а чіткий покроковий план і стратегія зростання, яку втілить навіть Джун. Скористайся промокодом «На захід» і отримай повний аудит за $500 замість 1200. SEO-профі. Data-driven SEO у світі AI.
Search and insert links into relevant traffic pages in 3 clicks. Filter results by niche, language, top country, spam score, and key SEO signals. Pro tip: set the page keyword filter to 10 or more. It ensures the page is indexed and already ranking, so you don't waste money on invisible links. Once you find a suitable page, click Buy. Add your website URL and anchor text. After finalizing your details, click Make Order. And voila! Your order is created.
And it's our estimate of a brand's ability to acquire players. Think like the assumption of Blask AI of how much the conversion power the brand is showing right now. And the second one is the CEB. It's the competitive earning baseline. Is the earnings baseline projection assumed by the Blask AI and derived from behavior and disclosures replacing the, well, think with the expected GGR of the market. And if we'll open the brand here, we can actually see this on the brand level. We can see that we think that Paris on Sports and France should be attracting at least 32,000 players in September 2025. On average, it should be performing at this range, attracting at least 43,000 of new depositors. And at max, if everything is great there, well, the deviation range, the upper bound of the deviation range shows that the 76.37K of FTDs we should have been expecting from the brands. Reality might be way higher. But we can also see those projections in terms of the revenue, because the share of search I've been talking about is what we call the brand's accumulated power, is how much brand power the brand accumulated over the existence since 2016. We track over here. We can see some of those actually losing traction, but I'll show some handful examples later. Well, and to make this actionable, we have assembled more than 15 plus gigabytes of public reports from regulators, gambling commissions, listed operators. We've trained and supervised models that map daily Blask Index curves. So it's a daily metric. We can switch to 1 year. We can go to day over day. And the mathematics behind is quite simple, that we know that there might be public company like Flutter that publish quarter over quarter reports. Then we got those numbers from public reports and then extrapolated them using the Blask Index. We have already calculated it and then used it to train the artificial intelligence model that is capable of doing this sort of prediction. And you can read about this on the Blask blog on actually how we made this. But the main difference is that we did not have the mission to try to build the replacement to Ahrefs, to SimilarWeb, and all of those tools, because they shine, they're flawless, and we use them a lot in our work. But classic web tools count traffic, and Blask is not a replacer. It's a new player on the market that translates user interest into economics. And on the top of this, we layer trends. We don't just look at the market. We dissect the market into 3 stages: the rise, the fall, and the flat trend. Also, I call it stagnation here. You can see this in yellow. And you can see the market momentum at a glance, and it's now live across country views. Every single country you open, take India, for example. It's one of my favorite markets. It's highly seasonable. And you can see that we have a spike here. Well, that's the IPL, the Indian Premier League. And we can just switch to the all-time view, months over months, and see that this market is rising every single year. Over here, you don't even have to just, I have to click command, just look over here. It's rising here, then there, then it's rising here, then it's rising there. Well, just one single click. You see, hey, it's falling, rising, stagnating over here. Like, not making any single move, not creating the momentum every single time over here. But then, because the index updates continuously and keeps historical depths, you can observe monthly, weekly, daily actually, monthly, daily, and even hour-over-hour rhythms. So we can take a look at let's look at Germany. It's quite an interesting market that is heavily influenced by the US sports events. We can see that it's UTC time. They mainly play. just like on your website to Google Analytics, it was the artistic influence for the map. We can see that people do use these times over week. So you can just, if you're an operator, you can plan TV ads for this time. If you're an affiliate, you can actually do the banner rotation. But this is the option to turn time into strategy, and it's really an easy thing. We published lots of examples where sports calendars move markets, the IPL in India, World Cups, Olympics, Premier League, Series A in Italy. And operators can align promos with the steepest ramps of the day because the Blask Index is normalized for seasonality. So peaks are truly comparable year to year. And if you'll take a look at the old time, you can see this is rebuilding. Actually, you can get huge amount of actionable insights from here. And let me show you the success of stake over the IPL in India they made during last year. I'm just switching to 2024, January to December. And then I'm switching to the day over day. Here is the market trend segment we'll be looking for. And then when looking at the brand's accumulated power, you can see this huge purple, salmon colored actually, stacked bar diagram hopping over on the IPL. You can see here the IPL starts. Every single match is outlined with a spike here. Then it's raising again closer to finals. And then the interest drops. And we can see how stake climbed over the ladder to more than 54%, almost half of the market. Well, on the stake. That's a flawless example of how they can do this. Actually, I'm really proud that stake is within the list of Blask customers. If you want to be a top-notch operator like stake, well, buy a Blask subscription. But well, that's just the beginning because we've also utilized lots of computer vision to read the storefront. It all starts with an automated brand discovery system we have made because, well, you have to know lots of brands to be able to get the data for those brands, to calculate all of those regressions. And that's why we built the computer vision system that relies heavily on transformed-based detectors. It's the state-of-the-art approach in computer vision right now, and the technology that's used by the latest developments like the latest segment anything or the Dino models recently published by Meta AI, because Meta really leads the game in computer visions. But then we've utilized the system that is feeding through itself millions of URLs to classify those as casino operators, general information websites, affiliate websites, catalogs, all of those, to find all of those brands before they even appear in search or appear in catalogs, or they even have agreements with affiliate teams. Then we have reused these systems. I'll show you on the example of Brazil, but it can be Netherlands. It will be Netherlands. Talking about Western markets, like be Europe, the games. Because brands win or lose not only on marketing, but also on a shelf space and operator lobbies. And the computer vision engine we built crawls thousands and dozens of thousands of pages and detects slot games, game providers, lobby position of each of those on the day-over-day basis. So you don't need to write the crawler to understand what's the game number one in Betano in Brazil. Let me actually open Brazil. That's quite a tricky thing. Well, you might need the VPN to access Betano. You have to pay for the VPN, and you have to have a residential proxy. Well, we can just go to the countries here, just open Brazil, back to Betano, see the dice here. We can see that the number one game here is like this one. You can also see that Aviator leads here. It's not even changing the position. And then the Fortune Dragon crumbles a little bit, that climbed from the place number 47 in September 29 up to the position number 2. Like Pocket Game Soft, yeah. Lots of them there. And it's just lobby. We can take a look at Jogos Premium. All of those, there are 4 crazy cluckers, and the lobby is mainly here dominated by Playtech. But, well, this gives the industry's first placement dataset. How often a game is shown, how long it stays in top rows, who is prioritizing which titles.
Йоу, народ, це я, Дмитро Тютюн, стендап-комік, блогер, реслер і ще багато всяких регалій. Я комік, і іноді мої приколи можуть не зайти. Але коли не заходить стаття за 100, 200 або навіть 500 баксів, ну це уже взагалі ні в які ворота. Згодні? І щоб цього не було, я вам пропоную користуватися сервісом linkchecker.org. Я на***ав. Про. Я знаю, що про. Я просто перевірив вас, ребята. Ви зааплодували, що ви не знали, що неправильно сервіс називається. Давайте ще раз. Я кажу лінкчекер, а ви про. Лінкчекер? Оу, єс! Він постійно моніторить статті, шле сповіщення, якщо є якісь помилки або видалені посилання. Показує, які сторінки реально в індексі, за рахунок чого у тебе є змога побачити свій... Та йди ти нахуй! Анкор-лист! Що таке анкор-лист? За рахунок чого у тебе є можливість побачити справжній анкор-лист свого проєкту. І ще суперфішка, він відслідковує лінк-інсершени. Правильно ж сказав, сука! І суперфішка, він відслідковує лінк-інсершени в старих публікаціях. Я так радий, що я це сказав, ребята, ви не уявляєте. Тобто, якщо хтось втіхаря вставив якесь посилання в вашу статтю, ви одразу це побачите. А також він тобі допоможе відсіяти існуючі лінки, коли ти обираєш нові сайти для публікації. Боже, скільки термінів. Я оце читаю, я ніби з айтішником спілкуюся. Оце інтерактив з айтішником. Тупо половину слів взагалі не розумію. Тобто ніякого дубляжу, ніяких Google таблиць, тільки контрольований лінк-білдинг. Yeah. Я розумію, ребята, що ви дуже хочете, щоб це був кінець, але це не кінець. Коротше, ребята, LinkChecker Pro – це оцей чувак в вашій компанії, який постійно все перевіряє, поняли? Це Моніка з друзів. Супер педантичний, все, нічого мимо ока не пропустить. Ребята, все, я вам забороняю чекати, відміняю чекання. Вам не можна чекати, треба уже прямо зараз завантажувати собі LinkChecker Pro. Не завантажити, а підписатись на нього, твою мать. Тому що вони дарують промокод 50 OFF, знижка 50% на перший місяць. Ясно вам? Ще раз, ребята, я кажу, давайте так, я кажу лінк, ви чекер, я про. Давайте, лінк, чекер, про!
We have a good post on this on Block and on my personal LinkedIn. And under the hood, we rely heavily on transformed base detectors and lots of this we don't call magic because it was the only applicable way to use AI, not as a decoration, not to say, well, we're building the AI powerhouse. Fuck, on the backbone, there is the API call to ChatGPT. That's cheating. Well, computer vision here is the most cheap and the most effective way to solve the task, even if, like, well, if the operator redesigns the lobby and you have the parser or scraper that's written in Python, you have to rebuild it completely from scratch. Computer vision does not need this because it acts as a human visual cortex, just as we as humans see with our eyes. It doesn't matter the website is on Japanese, Ukrainian, English, or Portuguese. It does not matter. And you can tie lobby positions and provide a pushes to the index, the APS, the CEB, because we have reused the concept of the Blask Index also here, and we take a closer look and scan closely those games that are on the top positions here, like 13K here. More than 500 of them we track with the Blask Index. You can actually open this. Take a look at the lobby games visibility rank. Take a look at brands. Take a look at the brand's accumulated power of the brand, the share of interest over the Brazilian market for Fortune Tiger. Well, it's losing its position slowly the whole time. Yeah, I can also see this. It was booming here in all of those. Like if you are running an operator in Brazil and you have no Fortune Tiger, well, you are missing out. But really, questions and insights like hypothesis, just casual hypothesis you can test just at did a week at top role placement for Sugar Rush move the Blask Index for the brand X and the feedback loop from what users see, what they search, what they do becomes visible. And that's just the needed balance thing for the marketing director and the operator side, or for those affiliate teams that are working globally, because SEO is a global thing. You're working globally with lots of operators over various countries. You'll have all of this at your fingertips because we do all of this data mining, data supervision, AI pipelines, machine learning, computer vision for you. And putting it together, well, you can open the country. In a minute, you will know the number of active brands, leaders by the brand's accumulated power. You don't need to anymore trust all of this. Well, this is the fantastic offer for Brazil, one of the best brands. Well, who gives a fuck if it's the brand number 134? They're just lying. We can see everything. We can even see games for the brand number 134 here. Well, some of them they're pragmatic. And in the main lobby, yeah, Tigre Sartuda is like Fortune Tiger from Pragmatic. And also PGS there. But yeah, well, you can see market leaders. You can understand who market leaders are, who to add to the hunting list of yours. You can understand the entire market pulse, whether or not the market is rising or the market is cooling, because you can just easily use the year-over-year filter. Well, Jordan is on the rise, Algeria, God bless, 113 brands there. Costa Rica, Zimbabwe, Venezuela, so many interesting markets. More than 100% of year-over-year growth. It's completely offshore. Well, that's really interesting. All green. Let's see the historical progression. Yeah, such a rally. God bless. That's insane. Yeah. The top 5 that's dominating the market, having more than 10% of the brand's accumulated power so far. And you can compare all of them here. Yeah, can zoom in. It's an easy, sleek interface. Yeah, but well, you can easily pick the brand. Like one win over here. Just a random brand that I've clicked. And you can see the nearest competitors, not by the web overlap in search engines, by the brand market behavior curve over time. And this is live today across our country views. More than 100 countries we track right now. The US, Canada will appear shortly because it's just the country by country subdivision. And then there will be the state by state subdivision, because regulation hits differently within United States, because every state has their own regulatory body, and I can showcase this later on the demo contour we have. But, well, yeah, in regulated markets, we definitely separate local and international brands. Take a look here in the UK. Well, not a huge pile for the offshore brands in the UK so far. But, well, it's right in the UI, and it allows to see the APS, the CEB by the segment, to actually see financials it's quite a clear lens for compliance and planning. And if you're working with this brand and they're saying, oh, well, we don't have enough money to pay you for the traffic, well, you can actually see quite well the possible amount of money they might gonna get. Let's take Italy, for example, and let's take like Latin America here, for example. We can see that we assume that they might have earned at least $22 million in September this year. Well, to finish this up, to sum this up, why this is different from SEO dashboards? Brand versus the domain. Most tools track domain names. We track brands. We are the first ever competitive market intelligence software that is tracking brands. It is a critical difference in iGaming, where one brand may run hundreds of mirrors or localized front ends. And we have an article on how we discover, validate brands, calculate an index at the brand level, and do the hourly refresh, all of this stats for nerds. But we don't sell vanity metrics. We map direct user interest to the acquisition power score and the competitive earnings baseline, so teams can tie awareness, acquisition power, and financials into one coherent and consistent frame with trend and seasonality context embedded on the country level. Soon it will be also on the brand level. And well, Blask connects four worlds that used to live apart. The first one is the brand visibility. We do it with a share of search-based Blask Index based on the Lespinets methodology. The financial outcomes we regress with the APS and CEB that use machine learning models that were fed in with more than 15 gigabytes of regulatory data from open sources. We connect time with seasonality and with trends. And the storefront reality with the computer vision-based game and lobby tracking. And instead of guessing, you can see now. And instead of waiting for quarter lines before the company, you pay 50,000 euros for the market report and wait for it for half a quarter. You connect today. And well, that's what I meant by seeing the unseen. Well, Victor, that's it. I think we have around 9 minutes left. So maybe there are some questions arising. I'll be happy to answer them or show some specific dashboards or some specific markets we have available here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think it was useful because it's like for the people who are never used, like especially like people who do brand traffic, people who are trying to figure out which market to enter, like which games to use and all other stuff. It's pretty good.
Втомилися платити за посилання, які не працюють? У Backlinkers ми маємо круте рішення. Конкуренти це точно не повторять. Як ми це робимо? Ми знаємо, що найкраще працюють лінки, які неможливо повторити. Це знаєте ви і ваші конкуренти. Тому ми розробили топову послугу Linkable Assets. Створюємо контент, який генерує для вас трастові лінки з авторитетних ресурсів. Безкоштовно? Ну майже. Ось результати, яких ми досягаємо. Отримайте лінки, від яких будуть кусати лікті ваші конкуренти. Скануйте та замовляйте зараз. Backlinkers. Посилання, що працюють на результат.
I mean, it's not only just for this. I'm just saying in terms of like SEO stuff. So first question from the chat is how reliable game data is after first 10, 20 games? Casinos can put lower TP games first there or games with lower fee. What do you think?
Yes, it's all about more features because first, it's quite hard to build a framework that's capable of scanning more than 10,000 of operators with the day-over-day updates. We are now rolling out the feature to all of the markets we have right now. We have like the priority backlog of those, and then it might be a really good idea to add this to the product and take in place RTP, for example, because it requires huge supervising job to be capable of getting this from the operator's lobby. But mainly we talk brands right now. We can see that, well, it's an aviator, but it's quite hard right now to understand if it is like the real aviator. Are they allowed to use this game? Is it like the real Stripes game, or it's a scam? But anyway, on the big data, it makes sense.
Okay, thank you. When before like your presentation, you mentioned about like the data sometimes from regulators. Like, do you I mean, I guess you take data from everyone like who can provide it to you, right? But like, for example, if it's like regulated market, let's say like Italy, let's say like Netherlands, or like, I don't know, Serbia, right? Like when they have you entered Serbia, when they do the reports, right? Like how is like the revenue, according to your experience, revenue is actually looking real. Like, for example, what's that per month, right? 41 million, like on average. Like, for example, how is market dynamics and the number that you put there is aligned with the actual number from the regulator report?
If there is a number in the regulator report, you can be sure that this number is exactly here. If there is a regulatory body that shares reports, we map this penny to penny. It's 100% accurate. But by accuracy, I mean that not even regulators are sure that those numbers are 100% relevant and accurate. So we have the deviation range to understand this, because, well, the offshore market might take a significant part on lots of the market, especially in Europe. And it's quite a tricky thing to model this and create the mathematical framework to try to be as careful and as precise as we are, but we try to do the best to do this. And then the best confirmation is that we have lots of companies working on those markets that actually still use the product, resubscribe for years, and they might say nothing in public, but that's the best signal for us that we are quite accurate. But in layman terms, it's all just maths and the behavior of people. And it doesn't matter if the brand has the license or not. Like, all of those laws of big numbers and the normal distribution occurs here, and we try to be as accurate as we can. The only limit is the amount of data. More data you have, the best your assumption will be. It's related to everything from business intelligence to artificial intelligence, because AI is just step +1 to BI. Yeah, that's it. But it's all about the amount of data. If the brand is existing more than 5 years and it is huge, well, it will be up to 95, 98, 99% accurate. If it's a newcomer that's advertising only using like the offshore SAO or well, the farmed Facebook accounts and just getting traction for a couple of months, well, it's at max up to 85% at max. But that's because we just don't have too much data for those.
I mean, that's still pretty good because, yeah. Okay. A question from the chat. Is it possible to view forecasts on Google Play or apps, store markets, is this analytics from Google search only? Like,
Well,
no. Mhm.
yeah, I'll take over this. Google is just one of the search engines that we get data from. We actually get all temporal data, all time series data. Take keyword tool, for example, with the TikTok stats. Well, this contributes to the dynamics. It's not about traffic, but that's a really good question on the distribution of player interest and audience interest across mobile applications. That's on the roadmap for the next year. We've planned this really, really far away before this day. And probably we will deliver this in 2026 because we have lots of requests on this.
Nice, nice. Especially for regulated markets where like half of the share can be in apps, like depends on the sub vertical, but in apps, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. That's the marketing mix and all of those details. We are planning some huge updates and huge releases shortly in a couple of weeks. Something crazy no one have previously did. But it's all about how you interpret and how you think about this because it doesn't matter apps or SEO. It's all about awareness. It might be a radio advertisement. It might be a TV. It might be an ambassadorship. When you are driving to your office, you hear something, then you just stop driving and you start searching for what you have heard of. That's brand visibility you contribute to that share of search over category. And we regress this directly. And the next layer of detail is affiliate markets for sure that we are planning to deliver next year. This will be a huge update that will show the marketing mix across affiliates for all of the markets we are tracking in Blask. And the last step will be also the content part, but for bookmakers and the influence of sports, just as we did with the games for casinos.
When you said about affiliates, you mean something like DeepSea now every metrics did like inside, so they just like scan all of the top keywords by keyword priority, like then they scan the website, they scan who rank where, right? And they, according to this data, show to affiliates, here is the traffic potential, right? You mean this or?
Yeah, exactly. This will be built in directly to Blask with even more features on top of that.
Nice. Someone will make like different out of Humble and Blask, not Blask, sorry, every matrix and just put, because like your data, you already have this data. And plus, if you combine other data, it's like way more useful. Okay. Thank you. And the question is like, I guess like last question today is like, let's say like most of the people who are like watching right now, they are doing SEO, like they get an SEO traffic. What's the, like for your point of view, number 1, 2, 3 thing in a Blask they can use it to get or better conversion or better insights where to get the traffic, or like, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a great question. Then number one is markets. It's all the strategic level to choose markets that are on the rise on the monthly perspective or on the yearly perspective.
And you mentioned, I'm sorry to interrupt you, and you mentioned that Australia and Canada and like other big markets coming soon, right? Here, because
Yeah. Not just Australia and Canada and North American North American market, but also all markets that behave differently on the state level and region level, such as India. So the state breakdown, that's how we've been calling it, the state overview, will be available also for markets that are not the US or Canada.
nice.
Yeah, well, top three things. The first one is to put your effort as what's the most effective. Just don't take the underdog markets here, such as like Hungary or maybe Albania, focus on markets that are rising right now, you can just easily sort them out and take a look here. Well, those are on the green zone, those are rising. You can take a look at Venezuela, for example. Well, okay, that's the big thing. Another thing is working with the market leaders. Don't work with underdogs. Like you have found the country, well, okay, then it's time to act. First of all, just take a look the all time and plan the campaigns here. We can see that August and September are really popular months to get the highest outcome possible. And then after that, it's quite easily projected here into a customer journey. Well, you see markets, then you see that it's rising. You see the seasonality here, like what, like where in Venezuela, when in August and September, and with whom. You can just go and find some representatives of TriunfoBet, FacilityBet, Apuestas Royal, and Party. Yeah, and it just write them out, reach them, saying like, wow, we're doing great SEO. And then if the market, it was top three. Well, top three. We are not even hitting the games section. That was like what I've been doing, I guess. And understanding actually the specific when choosing the market, like the population, the internet users, the regulation status for casino and betting. We don't yet have like fantasy, don't have poker, but we have casino and sports betting right now. Some
Nice.
of the verticals maybe will appear shortly based on the request. But yeah.
What I really like the old metric thing is like population, internet users, like by age and stuff. You can also add here by language, because like you see not only one but more. Probably sometimes it's like and with the law, like yeah. I mean, you can
Let's take Serbia, for example. We can see
I see
two of them there.
Nice. It's nice. Okay. And with the law, sometimes is like a little bit confusing. Like, for example, we can take Austria. It's kind of regulated. It's like 3 players there. But is it okay to go there for affiliate, right? Or no? Like, is it like, or Vietnam, right? It's unregulated market. Is it like, like the whole point sometimes, like just to understand, can you enter the market? Like if you operate like with already like established team and you have like incorporated or LLC, you don't want to be penalized by Vietnamese government or something like this, right? And you just want to know, is it like legal to send players even if it's unregulated market or no? Like in terms of like you see affiliate side, and sometimes I think it can be useful, like because when I ask actually Dima about like how do you guys do it internally, he said we just hire lawyers that were like, for example, if we enter in this country, like they just do research. But think about of like, let's say you found Venezuela, it's growing good, it's unregulated. Okay, what are the risks for affiliates? Can they enter, or you need to be play in other way, right? Like just to send traffic there. That's I think will be really valuable for affiliate side. It's just little feedback, like yeah.
That's a great idea. I'll definitely show this to the product team. But anyway, we've got lots of requests so far on refining the license data, because right now we can see this in Venezuela, but in Austria, we can actually see the regulatory body. We can even see like the date when the license was acquired. Then we can see the date when the license is finishing for operators. But from the affiliate perspective, yeah, I've never been thinking this way. And, that's really great.
You just analyze like how I see, is it like MJ or Curacao or it's San Juan or whatever, right? Like what's on this market. And then you can see that most of the market is your Curacao brands. You're like, okay, so, it just also adds a little bit different way to like send traffic from an affiliate side. Yeah. So
Just having a report by the country that issued the license on the international part. Yeah, that's really a great idea.
yeah, like for example, like Netherlands growing, and now we know like they like have connection with different types of licenses, and they always have problems, right? Like with the offshore operators there. But you can correlate the license growing per country, right? Like for example, everyone entered Venezuela. Who is these guys? Curacao brands, or like they have like I mean, with the local, you're is everything is good. Yeah. Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
that's great. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Like I think it's a like amazing product, and I wish you guys like just be patient and continue, like to develop and just make it, as you said, like a Dow Jones index, right? Like you have correlation between like Dow Jones, like so Blask Index, so people just like according to this can measure and make data-driven decisions a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's really important to understand that all of those features that are linked not directly to iGaming and gambling generally in sports betting also is deriving from economics of the country. And yeah, well, if everything is great, we have one patterns. If everything is not as great, we might see other patterns. So we've just started. We've just more than 1 year since the public launch, and what you've seen, it's the very beginning, and it is less than 5% of the entire roadmap of Blask. There will be crazy things upcoming next years.
Nice, nice. That's so cool because it's like I called it shared research because when you roll the product, I mean, it's too expensive to have super quality research department in each company, right? On back end, like you need to have like people who compile data, who research, who make sure it's like correct and whatever. But when like for example, you have like thousands of customers and who pay, you have more resources to get all the data for everyone, right? And just that's cool.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Just a gimmick. I really enjoyed speaking at Nazahit, Victor, and for every attendee, I know that there are more than 500 people listening to this stream right now. If you'll get in touch with the sales team, it's that easy as just talk to sales button here and say that you are coming from Nazahit. Well, you'll get the 10% discount for every subscription, no matter what time period you choose. This will be like a gift to all of the attendees. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot for your time and presentation.